Hey, it's Clay at claytrader.com. This will be my top 10 stocks for Friday, November 25th. This will be a technical analysis breakdown. So if you're someone that uses charts within your trading, or maybe you're just interested in learning more about charts and how they can be used as a tool to help make good decisions as a trader, this will be a video for you. And just a friendly reminder, the markets are closed on Thursday for Thanksgiving. First off, a couple clarification points. Number one, the price you see over here will be moving around and changing, and the candlestick you see right there will also be moving around and changing. That is because the market's still open for a small amount of time, but I like to do these videos when the market is still open because sometimes we can capture some really interesting late day price movement. And then second, I'll be using the 30-minute time frame, meaning each one of these candlesticks here, as they're called, represents 30 minutes worth of time. So stock number one here, COSM, and this is tricky to talk about because there's a lot of perspective that goes into it. What do I mean by that? Well, if you're some sort of day trader, flipper, scalper, whatever you want to call yourself, and you bought right there, maybe you bought right there, and your plan was to buy and sell within 20 minutes, well, then from that perspective, the chart looks really, really bad. I mean, to think about it. True story, there are some people that were buying up there, and now look at this thing. Big move in the downwards direction. With that being said, if you care about things from the big picture point of view, meaning you care about things from more of a longer term viewpoint, let me move that over there we go, then everything is still perfectly fine. Because think about it, even if the price goes down to that green line and holds, you'd have a low there. Where would previous sets of lows be? Right there. What about a previous low? Right there. What about a previous low? Down here. And if you envision these as stair-steps, what do you have? Again, emphasis on big picture. Well, from the big picture, you would still clearly have stair-steps being made in the upwards direction. Again, I understand if you're a day trader and you bought right there, you don't care about these stair-steps. But that's why I'm trying to make the distinction between big picture or a day trading standpoint. But yeah, overall, big pullback today, but keyword being today. When you look at multiple days, you can see that there is still plenty of opportunity for the price to build those higher bases. So let's see what happens. Next one, KAL, and I like this because it's got a very nice little pattern here, and I want to be very clear. I'm not trying to impress you, not trying to imply that, I have some sort of special skill by drawing this pattern. A lot of people have drawn this pattern, and the reason I say that is because when a lot of people are watching the same patterns, wondering the same things, call it a self-fulfilling prophecy, call it whatever you want, it can produce some very dynamic movements. So top part of this pattern, otherwise known as the resistance, right up here at 16.5 cents. And at the same time, there is this lower trend line right here, which I'll change to green to represent more so the bullish dynamic of things. And then to maybe make this all a bit easier to see, let's make it one color. So we have our resistance, we have our support, we have the big momentum move up like that. Let's put our golf hole down here to make it visual for you golfers out there. And this would be known as a bull pennant pattern. So while there are no guarantees, is it plausible to think that if the price comes up here and pushes through that level, that there could be some sort of self-fulfilling prophecy that gets the price to, pick up that much more momentum because it is breaking out? Yeah, that is a more than plausible and reasonable assumption to have. But again, it's not guaranteed. So if you like penny stocks, if you like bull pennant patterns, here you go. Next one, COMS, and this is a scenario where it's just a question of, do you like to play these situations where things are looking pretty bleak, looking pretty rough? Because yeah, there's no doubt about it. This is a pretty ugly looking chart. To think it was all the way up here at one point, now it's all the way down here. But for you longer time viewers, you know what I'm going to say next. There can be opportunity in the ugly, because what you have down here is a very interesting level at this former breakout point at 7.5 cents. At 7 cents. And why is this area interesting? Like I said, you have this former breakout point, and just basic technical analysis, when levels of resistance are broken, they tend to act as support. On top of that, you have that pink line there. Whoop, I just kind of covered it up. You have that pink line there, the 50-period moving average. So you have a lot of supports around that area. Once again, does that mean that the price is for sure going to bounce? No, there are no for sure's. But is it plausible to think that if the price comes down to this area after getting, that much uglier, that it could find some support and then head back up? That is certainly a plausible scenario to throw out there. So if you like to play these situations where something's receiving a pretty big pullback, but there are still some quality levels of potential support, then I definitely keep an eye on this. Next one, NRBO, and I like this one for one very straightforward reason, and it goes back to the whole talking point of self-fulfilling prophecies, and a lot of people watching the same level, wondering the same thing. And we have that right here with the level up here at $1.70. I mean, check it out. Multiple times the price has come up around that area and gotten rejected, and then on top of that, you do have a nice little upwards trend here via these higher bases. So you can envision those as stair steps, or if you wanted to just draw on a trend line, that works too. But it just goes to the premise of, and I'm probably going to repeat this a lot more times. Guaranteed? No. But valid to think, reasonable to think that if the price comes up to $1.70 and pushes up through it, that break could create additional buying pressure. That is certainly more than valid. So keep an eye on that level as it's so well defined. Nice little consolidation here, all on low volume. So let's see if the price can get another surge of momentum and push up through that breakout point. Next one, AMC, and this will mean a bit more to those that have watched past videos, but if you have, you know that I've been talking about this overall pattern here for quite a bit, and check it out. Despite, in fact, let me zoom back in here so you can see just the power of these trend lines. But earlier today, look at it. First 30 minutes rejected by the trend line. Next 30 minutes rejected by the trend line. But price finally did break through the trend line right there. Made a very nice move in the upwards direction. So in other words, this pattern has now been broken, which transitions into the next question. Okay, pattern broken, but can it get even more continuation on Friday? So that'll be the key dynamic here. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of these lines as they've now served their purpose. And with the next key level of resistance now being right up here around the $8 mark, give or take. And if $8 can be broken, then at that point, it seems as though $8.50 is more than reasonable and more than possible. So keep an eye on that dynamic as the next key level of resistance. But overall, the key, talking point here is that trend line has been broken. A breakout is underway. Now it's just a question of can this breakout get that much more continuation and momentum? Definitely keep an eye on this next level up there around 8. Real quickly, wanted to pause and personally invite you to get signed up for a free live online training that I'm offering next week. So if you've been enjoying what you've seen here and you want to learn more about this tool, how it can and should be used to build consistency as a trader, then definitely get signed up for the free training. If you're watching on YouTube, there's a link down in the description box. If you're watching at my site, there's an area right there on the webpage that you can click to get signed up. So like I said, if you've been enjoying what you've seen, then I definitely want you to get signed up for the class. Next one, SOFI, and I've been tracking this one now for, I think this is the third day in a row. We've been tracking the trend line, and then in yesterday's video, I put in that little trend line right there to seemingly maybe the potential of a falling wedge, which is a bullish pattern. And wouldn't you know it, check it out. The trend line has now been broken. And this is what a watch list is all about. Finding interesting, finding unique situations, not randomly rushing out and buying things, but watching them. And this is what would definitely be considered a unique situation because the trend line is broken, which now allows us to ask this very simple question, but powerful question: is this the start of something bigger? Think about it. When the price was still stuck below that trend line, it made no sense to say, hey, is this the start of something bigger? Well, what do you mean? Nothing has even happened. But in this situation, something has happened. The trend line's been broken. So yes, is this finally going to be the start of not necessarily a complete turnaround, but from a trading standpoint, a quality bounce in the upwards direction? Let's see what happens. So yes, this long time trend line has now been broken. Is it the start of something bigger? Let's see. Next one here, APE, and probably should have done this one right after AMC, but interesting setup here, and it's gotten that much more interesting, and this is why I like to do these when the market's still open, because check it out. As I talk, this candle, last 30 minutes, getting a good surge of volume, and it's coming up very, very nicely. So that leads to a very valid question of, okay, is this last 30 minutes the start of a bigger bounce to follow on Friday? And we'll have to see with that. But if it is, the next big test to keep a close eye on will be that purple line there, the well-known 50-period moving average, currently valued at $1.26. So keep an eye on that, which at this point, in my opinion, becomes relevant. I realize the price is still relatively far away. However, this is also a very powerful, very strong close here with this last 30 minutes, and the market closes now in about 3 minutes. But very, very impressive here with that volume surge. So we'll see what happens. As far as levels of support, nothing fancy or complicated here. Literally just a question of where did the party for the bears finally stop, and that was down there at $1.12. So keep an eye on $1.12. But yeah, the most interesting dynamic here is big solid green candle on good volume. Can it get up to that purple line and break up through it? Let's see what happens on Friday. Next one, TSLA, Tesla. Very, very impressive move here. Put that trend line into place yesterday, but that served its purpose. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that as we now have a couple of key levels to watch heading into Friday. First key level that I'm very curious about, right up here at that level, which puts the breakout point at essentially $185. Now, even if 185 is broken, don't get me wrong, that's certainly a step in the right direction, but there is still more work that needs to be done. The next bit of quote-unquote work being in regards to that pink line there, which serves as the 200-period moving average, currently valued at, let's just call it 190. So again, a break of 185, fantastic, a step in the right direction, but there's still other overhead resistance, with the next key one being that 200-period moving average. But overall, any way you look at it, I mean, when you consider that this thing was basically at 168 just yesterday, now all of a sudden it's almost $20 higher, $15 higher, we'll call it. Good, solid move. Now it's just a question of can this momentum continue, which makes that that resistance level up there very interesting. If there are any sort of pullbacks, then the key level of support to keep an eye on is going to be that purple line there, currently valued at, we'll call it 174.25. Next one here, NIO, good move today. Like Tesla, had the gap up, pulled back a little bit, but also getting within striking distance of this 1085 level, which is that red line, which I've talked about in past videos. So it's not, and I guess it get kind of closer. I don't want to say it got close, but maybe that's an exaggeration. But we're getting closer. There we go. So we got closer this morning. Yeah, there was the pullback, but the nice thing about the pullback is the price has now started to head back up. So it's once again getting closer to that 1085 mark. So that'll be the main question. Can the price get up there and push through there? So keep an eye on that. And then also, as far as supports are concerned, definitely an important level at 1019, that purple line, 50-period moving average. And the reason why that's so important is, and I'm not saying this will occur, but if the price were to come down there and break down below it, what would that then be doing to the price? That would quite literally be putting the price right back to where it was. And I mean, not to insult your intelligence, but price movements that go back to where they were, not exactly a sign of genuine power. But yeah, overall, definitely some very well-defined levels. Next one, TQQQ, which is an ETF that encapsulates the NASDAQ. So if you think that the NASDAQ is going to rise in value, you can make money on this one because this one will also go up in value, just at a much lower price point, which is why it's one of the more popular ETFs out there. And it will track it basically every day. But today, good, solid event. What was this event? Well, the first event was a little disappointing because, yeah, it broke through that red line, acted like it wanted to break out, and then completely failed. But it did decide to try again later on in the day, came up, broke up through it, and now the price has maintained above that breakout point, which now, say it with me, we get to ask the always fun question, is this the start of something bigger? And, you know, again, I realize maybe it sounds like a very simple question, but you could not have asked that question at this point in time. Why? Because what are you talking about? There is no start of anything bigger. It broke and then it failed. But now that we have the price back up above it, we can once again ask that question. So moving forward, 2250 will be an ideal level of support. And that's just based on the principle when all levels of resistance are broken, they tend to act as support. So as far as next levels of resistance are concerned, though, next key level up there, I'd call right around $23.30. But all in all, good solid way to, I was going to say end the week, but the week's not quite over yet. So that wraps up the top 10. Again, if you like what you saw here, then I want you to get signed up for the free training. It'll be next week, like I said, Thursday, December 1st at 7 p.m. Eastern time. So I hope to see you there. As far as the top 10 videos are concerned, if you enjoy these, do two things for me, please. Hit that like button, leave a comment below. Tell me what you're doing for Thanksgiving. Tell me what you're trading today. Tell me what you're watching on Friday. So thanks for hanging out. Get signed up for that free training. And again, the markets are closed on Thursday for Thanksgiving. And I truly do wish you the best Thanksgiving. Enjoy the time doing whatever you do.